Hello, welcome to Price Chat, brought to you by Vendavo. I'm Paul, mild turbulent Sansom, and with me as always is my co-pilot Dan Flaps Down Cakora, who, as a Chicago resident, is contractually obligated to fly United Airlines at least 80% of the time. So Dan, what are we talking about today?
Paul, I'm glad you asked. Budget airlines are losing money, changing strategy, and raising price. Here's a few of them. Spirit Airlines defers plane deliveries in bid to preserve cash. Frontier Airlines breaks away from their ultra low cost model. And finally, Southwest, the king of budget air travel, slows growth plans again with rising costs.
Wow, that is pretty interesting. Let's dig into that. Well, what is that? Oh man, Dan, we've got breaking Price Chat news.
I can't believe it.
Recently, Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy and will close almost 90 stores. As we reported back in January, Red Lobster lost millions on their endless shrimp promotion, and their lobster promotion didn't go very well either. And while that is a headline grabbing and humorous potential reason for their current predicament, when you peel back the onion, it's merely a symptom of the underlying disease, which was years of mismanagement and poor financial decisions, including a disastrous sale and leaseback real estate deal to the private equity company that owned them, which forced them to pay above market rates for all of their property. So now they are saddled with debt and losing millions. Hopefully, Red Lobster pulls through, as it would be a sad end to an American institution that brought shellfish and Cheddar Bay biscuits to millions of American families over the past 50 years. Wow, that is pretty tough. But now let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So, Dan, travel spending is across the board way up. So why has there been a change of consumer behavior? Why are these carriers being snubbed by American customers?
Four big reasons, Paul. Number one, revenge travel. As the pandemic era restrictions have eased, people want to get back to it. They want to go see the world. So, because of that, flying internationally on major airlines is something that most budget airlines don't do. Next, there are fewer professional flyers, so there's poor loyalty programs at these budget airlines, lack of premium options, and non-preferred carrier status. As it turns out, business travelers spend a lot of money doing business travel. Number three, competition from the top. Price erosion at the major carriers has led to them squeezing the margins of these budget players, and they have taken market share as a result. And then number four, rising costs and the wrong demographic. Non-fuel costs are up 30%, which has been difficult to pass along to price-sensitive consumers. Keep in mind, if you're a price-sensitive consumer, you're probably going to go with the budget airline anyway, so any increase in price is probably going to put a dent in your travel plans.
Sounds like they've been a victim of their own success a little.
It does sound like that, doesn't it, Paul? What's interesting is that this budget model works in many other regions of the world. They've been more successful by carefully controlling costs and offering promotions and incentives that American carriers can't seem to match. Paul, have you ever flown with any of these companies? And if so, what has been your experience?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to fly on the majority of airlines presented here. And with one notable exception, I've had very pleasant experiences. And no, I'm not going to call out that one company and air the dirty laundry. I have integrity.
The big airlines have become more adept at deploying their own bare bones fares, and they've been chasing more leisure travel to make up for less corporate business travel since the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. Costs are going up, including higher wages to attract and keep pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, and other workers. Fuel prices have soared too. So again, it's hard to pass along these costs to very budget conscious consumers of budget airlines. So, Paul, what is that consumer view?
So paradoxically, even though it's the consumers that are rejecting the budget air travel model, in the long term, the failure of these businesses will be bad for those same consumers. Budget airlines, in many ways, provide a necessary evil by providing options and putting pricing pressure on major carriers, many of which have effective monopolies over certain domestic and international routes. The low cost model can give some pricing power back to the consumer, who has very few travel methods to choose from, the US certainly doesn't have bullet trains.
So how do we fix this, Paul? Is this a temporary problem or is it here to stay?
Well, we don't really know, but it could be a temporary problem. Budget airlines have been caught in a perfect storm of factors and haven't fared well in a post pandemic world. Was it due to poor strategy or just bad luck? Frontier CEO Barry Biffle seems to think it was just luck, but he might be a little biased. Air travel behaviors come in cycles, but the long arc will always favor more budget options. Eventually, the consumer will get tired of paying a premium to fly on Delta or United. So, Dan, what are some commercial models that low cost carriers can adopt to survive and potentially thrive?
Great question, Paul. The first one's easy because Frontier is doing it now and Southwest has been doing it for years. They're trying to capture more of this professional travel market and with additional loyalty programs, premium options, and things like better legroom and free Wi-Fi for top flyers. So that's one option. Paul, do you have any other options that jump to the top of your mind?
Well, next, they could adopt a similar model to Sunwings in Canada, where they focus more on specific destinations for leisure travel. Sunwings has cornered the Canadian snowbird market by exclusively flying from major Canadian hubs to sunny, warm beach destinations in Florida, Mexico, and the Caribbean. So, what is the third?
Option three, offer bulk travel packages. And I like this one. I think I actually stole this one from you. So thanks, Paul. Airlines could offer, these budget carriers could offer bulk purchases of 5, 10, or 20 pack flights in a lump sum. This has the effect of pulling forward cash flow and creating stickiness with the travelers. I bet you there's a fourth one that could round this out. Paul, do you have any ideas?
Well, lastly, adopting an annual membership model similar to Costco and Amazon Prime that gives benefits such as free price locks on airfare, access to early bird pricing, and premium customer support. But honestly, that's only four options. I'm sure there's a lot more out there. So thank you, Dan. That will conclude our segment for today. I want to thank all of you for tuning into Price Chat, the internet's only source for pricing news. And don't forget to pack light. There's a little turbulence ahead.